She had everything, the corner office, the power, the respect. But every single night, she became someone nobody would ever recognize. And when her two worlds collided, the truth didn't just destroy her career. It destroyed everything she thought she knew about herself. Hit that subscribe button right now, because what happens in the next 35 minutes will leave you speechless. Meet Jessica, 42 years old, CEO of one of the biggest tech companies in the country. Corner office on the 63rd floor, view of the entire city, assistant who brings her coffee exactly how she likes it. Board meetings where million-dollar decisions happen with a single word from her. She was powerful, respected, feared even. Forbes called her one of the most influential women in business. She had a penthouse apartment, a driver, a salary most people couldn't even imagine. From the outside, Jessica had won at life. But nobody knew the truth. Nobody knew that every single night, when the office emptied and the city lights came on, Jessica disappeared. She'd change out of her designer suit, put on completely different clothes, cover her face. And she'd drive to the worst part of the city. The part where police sirens never stop, where buildings are covered in graffiti, where people don't ask questions. And Jessica would become someone else entirely. Not a waitress, not a volunteer, something nobody would ever expect from a CEO. She was a street fighter, an underground fighter in illegal boxing matches where people bet thousands of dollars on who would be left standing. No rules, no referee, just two people in a warehouse basement fighting until someone couldn't get up anymore. And Jessica, she was undefeated. 27 fights, 27 wins. They called her the Ghost because nobody knew her real name. Nobody had ever seen her face clearly. She'd show up, fight, collect her winnings, and disappear. Why would someone with everything risk it all in illegal fight clubs? The answer is darker than you think. Jessica's public life was perfect, but it was also completely fake. Every smile in board meetings, every confident presentation, every powerful decision. All of it was an act. Because the truth was, Jessica felt nothing. No joy, no fear, no excitement, nothing. It started after a car accident 5 years ago. She survived, barely. But something changed in her brain. The doctors called it emotional blunting, a disconnect between her thoughts and her feelings. She understood emotions intellectually, could fake them perfectly. But she couldn't actually feel them anymore. Happiness, nothing. Sadness, nothing. Love, nothing. She was empty inside, a shell of a person going through the motions. For 5 years, she lived like a robot. Until one night, desperate and alone in her penthouse, she did something crazy. She punched a wall. As hard as she could. Her knuckles split open, blood everywhere. And for the first time in 5 years, she felt something. Pain. Raw, physical, real pain. And in that pain, she felt alive. So she found the underground fighting scene. Places where she could feel something real, where her body would scream and her blood would pump and the emptiness inside her would go away just for a few hours. The violence became her drug. The only thing that made her feel human. Every week she'd fight, take punches, give them back harder. Come home bruised and bleeding. And feel alive. Nobody suspected anything. She'd wear makeup to cover the bruises, long sleeves to hide the cuts. Tell people she did kickboxing for exercise. Her perfect public image never cracked. Until one night, everything changed. It was her 28th fight. The opponent was new, young, maybe 25 years old. Tall, strong, confident. They called her Reaper. The betting crowd went wild. $5,000 on Jessica, 8,000 on Reaper. The fight started. Reaper was fast, really fast. Jessica took 3 hard hits before she could react. But she'd been doing this for years. She knew how to absorb damage, how to wait for openings. She landed a brutal kick to Reaper's ribs. Heard something crack. Reaper went down. The crowd roared. But then Reaper did something unexpected. She pulled off her face covering. And Jessica's world stopped. The face staring back at her was familiar. Very familiar. It was Amy, her executive assistant. The woman who brought her coffee every morning, who scheduled her meetings, who had worked for her for 3 years. Amy was staring at Jessica with the same shock. For 5 seconds, neither of them moved. Then Amy spoke, breathing hard. "Ms. Martinez." The warehouse went silent. Everyone turned to look at Jessica. Someone in the crowd pulled out their phone. Jessica ran, pushed through people, got to her car, drove away as fast as she could. Her hands were shaking so hard she could barely hold the steering wheel. Amy knew. Her assistant knew. The next morning, Jessica sat in her office, waiting. Waiting for Amy to expose her, waiting for security to escort her out, waiting for her world to end. But Amy came in at 9 a.m. like nothing happened. Brought coffee, set it down quietly. "We need to talk," Amy said. "I know." "Not here tonight, the parking garage, level 3, midnight." Then Amy left. Jessica spent the entire day unable to focus. What was Amy going to do? Blackmail her, go to the press, ruin her? At midnight, Jessica went to the parking garage. Amy was waiting by her car. "Why?" Amy asked simply. Jessica could have lied, could have deflected. But she was tired of lying. "Because it's the only time I feel anything." Amy's expression didn't change. "I know exactly what you mean." Jessica stared at her. "You do? Why do you think I fight? I'm a 28-year-old assistant making $50,000 a year. I have a college degree I can't use, student loans I'll never pay off, a mother in a nursing home I can barely afford." Amy sat on the hood of her car. "Every single day, I smile at people who make in a week what I make in a year. I fetch coffee for executives who don't even remember my name. I'm invisible. Except in the ring. Except in the ring, where I'm somebody, where people see me, where I matter." They sat in silence for a moment. "What now?" Jessica asked. "Now we decide if we're going to destroy each other, or if we're going to keep each other's secret." "You'd keep my secret." Amy laughed bitterly. "You're a CEO, I'm an assistant. If this gets out, you lose your job, I lose my life. The media would destroy me, so yeah, I'll keep your secret." "And I'll keep yours." Amy nodded. "One condition, though." "What?" "Next time we are in the ring together, no holding back. I want a real fight." Jessica smiled, actually smiled. For the first time in years, a real, genuine smile. "Deal." For 3 months, they kept their secret. Worked together every day, professional, polite. And fought twice more in the underground circuit. Jessica won the first rematch. Amy won the second. But something was changing. Jessica was starting to feel things again, small things. Annoyance when meetings ran long. Satisfaction when a project succeeded. Concern when Amy came to work with a black eye she couldn't quite hide. The fighting had cracked something open inside her. And feelings were starting to leak through. Then came the fight that changed everything. It was supposed to be Jessica's 30th match. Against a newcomer called Hammer. 6'2", former MMA fighter, kicked out of professional leagues for excessive violence. The kind of opponent who sent people to the hospital. Jessica didn't care. She needed this fight, needed to feel alive. But when she got to the warehouse, Amy was waiting outside. "Don't go in there." "What?" "Hammer isn't just a fighter, she's a cop. Undercover, they're raiding this place tonight." Jessica's blood ran cold. "How do you know?" "Because I'm a cop too." The world tilted. "You're what?" Amy pulled out a badge. "Undercover, I've been investigating this fighting ring for 8 months. I was placed as your assistant to watch you. They suspected you were involved, but didn't know for sure." Jessica couldn't breathe. So everything, our talks, the fights, keeping each other's secret, all of it was fake. "No," Amy's voice cracked. "It started as an assignment, but then I actually got to know you, and I realized you're not a criminal, you're just broken like me. So you lied to me." "I'm lying to everyone, that's my job." Sirens echoed in the distance. "You need to leave, right now," Amy said urgently. "When they raid, I'll make sure your name doesn't come up, but you can never come back here, ever." "Why would you protect me?" "Because you protected me first. That night in the garage, you could have exposed me, fired me, ruined me, but you didn't." The sirens were getting closer. "Go, please." Jessica ran to her car, drove away, watched in her rearview mirror as police cars surrounded the warehouse. She never went back. The next morning, Amy was at her desk like always. "Good morning, Ms. Martinez. Your 9 o'clock is here." Jessica stared at her. This woman who had lied to her, investigated her, but also saved her. "Thank you, Amy." Amy met her eyes. "You're welcome." Life went back to normal. Or as normal as it could be. Jessica stopped fighting. The emptiness inside her was still there. But it was different now. Smaller, manageable. Because she'd learned something important. She didn't need violence to feel alive. She needed truth. 3 months later, Jessica called an emergency board meeting. "I have something to tell you," she began. And she told them everything. The accident, the emotional blunting, the fighting, all of it. "I'm getting treatment now, real treatment, therapy, medication, support, but I wanted you to know the truth." The board sat in stunned silence. "Why are you telling us this?" one member asked. "Because I'm tired of being two different people, the perfect CEO and the broken person underneath. I want to be one person, honest, flawed, real." She waited for them to fire her. Instead, Margaret, the oldest board member, spoke up. "Thank you for trusting us with this." Jessica blinked in surprise. You're not going to remove me." "For being human, for struggling, for seeking help," Margaret shook her head. "That's not weakness, that's courage." Another board member agreed. "My son has depression. I never talk about it because I'm afraid people will think less of him, of me, but maybe we should talk about it." One by one, others shared their own hidden struggles. Anxiety, addiction, loss. Everyone was fighting something. Everyone was hiding something. Jessica had thought she was alone. But she wasn't. None of them were. The board voted to keep her as CEO. Unanimously. But they also started something new. A mental health program for all employees. Therapy, support groups, resources. Because if their CEO could be honest about struggling, maybe everyone else could too. Amy stayed as Jessica's assistant for 6 more months. Then she got promoted. Detective, Homicide Division. Her undercover work had shut down 3 major criminal operations. On her last day, Jessica called her into the office. "I wanted to thank you for lying to you, for seeing me, the real me, and not turning away." Amy smiled. You did the same for me." They shook hands. Then, impulsively, Jessica hugged her. And felt it. Genuine affection, warmth, connection. The feelings were coming back. Slowly, imperfectly. But real. 2 years later, Jessica was still CEO. Still in therapy, still working on herself. The emptiness never completely went away. But she'd learned to live with it. And she'd learned something else too. That everyone is fighting a battle nobody can see. Everyone has a secret life. Not underground fighting or undercover operations. But struggles, pain, brokenness. And the bravest thing you can do is stop pretending you're perfect. Last week, Jessica gave a speech at a mental health conference. "I was a CEO who felt nothing," she told the crowd. "So I became a fighter just to feel pain, because pain was better than emptiness." But pain isn't healing, truth is healing, connection is healing, letting people see you, really see you, that's healing. The crowd gave her a standing ovation. Afterward, a young woman approached her. "Thank you for sharing your story. I've been struggling with the same thing, feeling nothing. I thought I was broken." Jessica took her hand. "You're not broken, you're hurt, and that's different. Broken things can't be fixed, hurt things can heal." The woman started crying. "How do I start?" "Tell someone the truth, all of it, that's the first step." The woman nodded. And Jessica knew she'd done something that mattered more than any business deal or profit margin. She'd helped someone feel less alone. That night, Jessica sat in her penthouse, looking out at the city. She didn't feel empty anymore. She felt tired, hopeful, uncertain. But she felt, and that was enough. Her phone buzzed. A text from Amy. "Saw your speech online, proud of you." Jessica smiled and typed back. "Thank you for everything. You would have figured it out eventually. Maybe, but you helped. That's what friends do." Friends. Jessica hadn't had a real friend in years. But she did now. And that mattered more than she could say. Because here's the real truth about secret lives. We all have them. Not illegal fights or undercover operations. But hidden pain, silent struggles, masks we wear to survive. And we think if people knew the truth, they'd reject us. But most of the time, they understand. Because they're struggling too. Jessica's secret wasn't that she was a fighter. It was that she was human. Broken, struggling, imperfect. Just like everyone else. And when she finally admitted that, when she finally let people see her, really see her, she didn't lose everything. She found everything. Connection, purpose, healing. Not perfection, but something better. Truth. If this story moved you, if you've ever felt empty inside or wondered if anyone would understand your struggles, hit that like button and subscribe. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And drop a comment telling me what's one truth about yourself you're afraid to share. Because maybe, just maybe, sharing it is the first step to healing. Jessica learned that the hard way. Through violence and lies and near destruction. But she learned it. And now she's helping others learn it too. One truth at a time. One honest moment at a time. That's how you stop living a secret life. Not by being perfect, but by being real. Even when it's terrifying. Especially then.